guys? Terry James, your mortgage guy, here with you once again. I got my buddy Curtis with me, local realtor. Thanks for coming on the show, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah.
And I
Thanks
really
for
appreciate
hanging out,
I really appreciate the invite.
Yeah, I'm glad you come on, man.
Yeah.
We've been talking for a while and trying to lock it down.
Yep.
So you tell me kind of what's been going on.
Yeah,
Let me know what's going on in the world of real estate.
In the world of real estate. Yeah. Well, once again, thank you so much for having me, man. I really appreciate it. And I know when we first met, we really hit it off. We talked about a lot of the things that we had in common, just the way we thought about life, business, so on and so
everything.
forth. So that's great. But my name is Curtis Estes. I'm currently on the Davis team out of the Bay Area.
Okay.
But I'm also the owner of Growing Knees Real Estate Group, which is
nice.
Which we talk about a little bit and how that all came about. Right now, the market, in my opinion, is fantastic. And I think
get out of here.
I really do. I really feel like there's opportunity in any market that you're in. You just have to understand where we are. You have to basically, have someone who can kind of walk you through, what the market is currently doing, where the rates are, what opportunities are, and understand your why.
Right.
Why are you in the real estate market? Why do you need to buy? Why do you need to sell? And I think once you understand that why, then you can identify which path you need to take in order to find your end result.
Okay. So, now, a lot of people are saying that the market is not good.
Yeah.
From the mortgage side because of rates, because of home prices, the consumer, the news reports, everything you see on Yahoo, Google, exactly.
Yeah.
And you're saying from your perspective as a realtor who's been doing this, you're saying it's a great time.
I think it's a great time, and I primarily work with buyers. So
Okay.
I totally understand that buyers are afraid. They're seeing these interest rates go up. Their purchasing power is being reduced. But the reality is that you have to understand, in my opinion, what your affordability is. And when you understand what your affordability is, you can make adjustments.
Now you can make.
And then you have to understand the history of real estate. We have highs and lows in this market,
Absolutely.
right? Highs and lows in the real estate world.
Always.
For decades and decades, you're going to have a recession. You're going to have these crazy high prices. Things are going to come back down. So you have to understand where you are on that, in the history of real estate and the history of interest rates.
As you talk about that, the highs and lows. So a lot of buyers are saying, why should I buy when it's high?
Right.
What's the reason I should buy right now when they're thinking it's the top of the market? Why? What's your angle, or what do you say to them to say, hey, now is a good time to buy?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because a lot of people say, oh, I'm going to hold off.
Right.
I'm not going to buy right now. I'm going to wait for home prices to come down.
Right. That's what they're saying.
Right. The benefit of buying at the peak of the market is once again, what is your why? Why are you purchasing that property? And whether you're in a down or an up market, you have to know that why. So in an up market, the benefit is that you're most likely going to have lower interest rates because home prices are through the roof.
Going
right?
Up. Yep.
If you're a person who's going to be purchasing a property for 5, 10, 15 years, then buying at the peak of the market, in my opinion, is something that's okay. Because you're going to stay in this property and you're going to be able to, one, find your affordability, know what your affordability is, so that you can purchase that home, stay in that home, and wade through the changes in the market. Because eventually at the peak, there's got to be a downturn.
Right.
And you got to understand that. So I tell my buyers that if you're going to be purchasing a property, understand where we are and the fact that that property may come down in value, depending on when you're going to purchase that property. Or if you're buying it as the market is going down like we are right now, more than likely on the upturn, that's where you're going to make your equity and your appreciation.
See, and I love that part because buyers really have to understand the why. Like, why are you doing it, where you are in the market. And what I try and tell people is, even to piggyback on that, like as they buy, if you're buying long term, you're buying your home that you are going to be in for the next 5, 10 years. then you have to understand that over the next year, even if prices come down, what does that mean for you if you're going to be here for 5 years?
That's right.
It's not that much of a headache or a worry.
Yep.
Now, if you're an investor and you're trying to flip and get out in a year, that's a different conversation.
and those are the conversations that I have with my buyers. I have to understand what their growing real estate need is at that time. Are you an investor? Are you a long-term? If you are an investor, are you a flipper? Are you a long-term holder? You know, what is that growing personal need?
And see, and I want you to go back to that because I want to get in on that.
Right.
So where did this growing needs develop out of? You know, what's the inspiration behind it? Where did it come from? What growing needs?
You know what? A lot of people are kind of caught off guard initially because they're like, "What the heck is this?" You know? And I'm gonna give you a little history about the growing needs, straight from the beginning. All right. As a child growing up, my father was a school teacher. 20 years.
Saying that,
So 20 years, he was a school teacher. He caught a stress-related illness called Bell's palsy, where he had half of his side of his face went for paralysis from stress. So he left being a teacher. He took his retirement and he started a company, a gardening and landscaping company.
Wow.
That company was called Growing Needs Landscaping and Maintenance. My mother and father would go in at the time and they would, you know, they had this property, they fixed this place up, incredible landscape. They did these amazing things. They would invite people over to see their home. And then from there, they grew this business and they started, getting more and more business and started doing. They would go into these landscapes and they would take this chaos and turn it into these magnificent landscapes.
Wow.
My father always wanted me to take that business. He did that for 30 years and I didn't want to be a gardener.
You didn't want to do it.
I couldn't stand it growing up.
Yeah.
Right? I appreciate it now.
Of course.
So when I bought my first property in East Oakland, 75th Ave, I bought 4 units. The property was in chaos. And I went in and I cleaned it up.
Yeah, I remember
remodeled the units. My father and I even helped me. I went through some really tough stuff with that property. And while I was doing that, I realized I was creating this community within a community with this stability. I was creating a healthy environments and I started doing low income housing. So I subsidized those units to nonprofit organizations that were helping people find homes. And so when I started doing that, I started thinking about, I'm going to call this company Growing Needs Real Estate LLC. Because just like my mother and father who were going and planting seeds, I was kind of doing the same thing with real estate.
Yeah.
So with that, as I started selling more real estate and I started thinking about what people needed in real estate and my passion for it, I started the DBA, Growing Needs Real Estate Group. And Growing Real Estate Group has 2 meanings. It's the real estate aspect, right? Where there's a growing need in real estate. It doesn't matter where you're at. You're a first-time home buyer, your family's growing, you want to scale up.
Investors,
Investors, maybe you're a luxury purchaser, that you have a growing need to build your investment portfolio.
Right.
Whatever the growing need in real estate is, we provide a service for that.
You provide that.
It could be, and how we work is we work with intention, passion, a true love for real estate, and helping those who have an idea and want to see that real estate need fulfilled.
Yeah.
So that's the business aspect of it. The personal aspect of Growing Needs Real Estate is about attacking every day with a passion, right?
Yeah.
It's about what is it that you see in yourself that you want to grow, that you want to evolve.
Yeah.
Is it financial? Is it personal?
Right.
It's about attacking those things and growing as
like
a person.
Mindset.
It's a mindset. It's a mindset.
Yeah.
So every day I wake up, I joke, right? Because we all have things that we gotta work on, right? And I look at myself every day as a project. So when I get up in the morning, man, I'm attacking every day.
Yeah.
Looking at the things that I want to achieve and my vision for the day and then for the future, right? And those are my growing needs. So this is how my business concept came about. And I just want people to feel that energy, man.
Yeah, I love that because it's so important that no matter what you do, that's what intrigued me when we were talking about it and you're telling me. I was so intrigued because it applies to more than just real estate.
Yeah.
This is bigger than just that
It's a movement, in my opinion.
It's a movement. It's a lifestyle.
That's right.
Like, it's a mindset. It's a mentality.
Yeah, that's
you
right.
know, that every day we wake up, we want to improve.
Right.
You know, and understanding that people, when we get up in the morning, how can we be better?
That's right.
How can we grow?
Yeah.
You know, like, that's really the
And
beauty
you and
of
I
it.
hit it off, man, because we talked about that in depth. We talked about mindset. We talked about health.
Yeah.
We talked about things that we really wanted to do to enhance our lives and make us feel better. And not only that, make us feel better, but help the people around us.
Yeah.
And so the growing needs, and when I first started seeing this concept with the property that I was working on and how I was working within the community, and I'd have neighbors come, because I took this property, man, it was in chaos.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I remember you talking.
I won't talk about
that.
the stories,
right,
but there was anybody who wants to get in and buying 4 units. That was my first property. I lived in that property. I went through, a lot of different things, and this is why one of the reasons why I'm a true believer in real estate is because first-time home buyers taking that step, they're making a decision to change the trajectory of not only their future, but the generations ahead of them. And you and I talked about this because a lot of us don't understand the value of that asset.
Right.
We see a lot of things happening in our communities where we're letting go of real estate in ways that maybe we shouldn't be.
Right.
Instead of holding on to them or asking for the resources and the help.
Yes. To maintain the real estate.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a vital role in your financial future, you know, and it's like, it makes such a world of difference when we're talking about financially. We're talking about the next generation. Like, it really does matter having that piece of property.
Yeah.
And how important it is to even get that.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll tell you a little bit. I'm being a little personal because I think sometimes people need to know who they're talking to.
Absolutely.
Both of my parents lost homes. So the home that I grew up in Berkeley, they went through some things. We lost that home. My mother eventually lost her home. So when I look at real estate, and I didn't have the benefits of having that fallback to pay for college, or to help with other avenues that actual real estate can't help.
Can do.
And what people don't understand is real estate creates a generational opportunities to support families from one generation to the next.
The other.
Right?
Yes.
And so if you lose that asset, if it's not managed well, and if it's not understood how the power of what that asset means for yourself and the family, then you're not really understanding what real estate is all about sometimes.
See, and that, I think that's part of the concern within a, community is understanding what that really means. They think it's just buying the house, but I don't think they understand that this is leverage. You're not just getting the house, but this is for your kids' future when they have student loans. This can even be for your son, getting them a house at 21, helping them get in a property, and it's so vital and important because now, rather than have your young son or daughter pay rent at 22, 25, they're paying a mortgage. Now their kids are going to be able to benefit from it. Like, it changes everything.
Yeah.
It's just that education of, sometimes we do have to suffer. It's a sacrifice.
Yeah.
I'll admit, you may not have to get that nice car. You may have to sacrifice up front.
You do, man.
But the benefits are far beyond that new car. The benefits are far beyond, the other things that you may have to give up to afford that payment.
Absolutely.
Or even the comfort. Because I want to talk about, like you said, you bought your first, your first condo in a place that wasn't the best.
Right.
But what did that lead to?
Yeah.
I'm
gonna tell you this, man. When I bought, and it was the property I bought was a 4-unit property, and I bought it at an incredible price, and over the last couple years, that property has made, and I'll be honest, the property has made me about $500,000.
Oh my goodness!
And just in the last, last 5-6 years.
What a world of difference!
But see, I was blessed because I came across a situation where that opportunity presented itself and I seized it, because I was so passionate about real estate and learning and talking about it all the time.
Right.
The opportunity presented itself. They don't always happen like that.
True.
But that's the point is that you have to get your foot in the door on your first piece of property.
Yes.
That's all there is to
Yeah.
it. And people are like, well, I don't want to take a mortgage. I don't want to pay interest rates. I don't want to open a bank account with some folks. Come on, man. I get it though.
Right. I understand. Right.
But there is a method to the madness.
Absolutely.
There's steps, unless you just got it like that.
Right.
Some cats do.
Some do, and that's good. It's awesome if you do.
And if they do, but if they don't, there's a method to the madness, and there's steps that need to be taken, and that's what we're here for, is to help kind of map out those steps. And that's one of the reasons why I love first-time home buyers.
Yeah.
I do, man.
Yeah.
I get fired up if somebody comes to me and says, "Man, I've been thinking about buying my."
Oh, I see it in you. Even when I've talked to you before, like I know you're really passionate about first-time home buyers, and not every agent, is looking forward for that, and everyone has their own, special, unique. But I know you really enjoy that.
I was looking at a $110,000 mobile home yesterday. I reached out to
Yeah, no, I saw your thing about but I didn't know what you were asking about the mobile
today
home.
I'll be looking at $1 million properties.
Wow.
But it doesn't, to me, I don't care if you're a $100,000 buyer or a $5 million buyer.
See, that's not common. Listen. Hey, I don't tell everybody this is not common. Okay, what you just said is not something that all realtors are out there saying.
And I'm not cut for everybody, man.
Right.
That's the beauty of life, though.
Yeah.
If I'm not cut for you, man, the one thing that I want to do is I want to have a fantastic conversation with you. And if I'm not that person, I'm so passionate about you buying a house.
Yeah.
I will find you an agent that fits your needs.
Oh man.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, see,
straight up.
See, and that's why we've worked so well together. And that's why it's about having good people that's like, look, I may not be the person, but I'll find somebody for you.
But I absolutely love first-time home buyers because I understand how that first purchase changes your life. I understand the insecurities you go through from purchasing that property.
Yeah.
I understand the planning it takes to get to that point if you're actually not ready.
Mm-hmm.
Because some people, they get, hey man, here's $100,000 your parents give it to you.
Right.
To go buy a house,
right.
Some people are working a job making $55,000 a year or less, and they are saving every penny.
Every penny.
You know what I'm
saying?
Trying
to get
whatever it takes to get you into that property.
Yeah.
If it's tomorrow or a year or two from now, you have to understand your plan.
Yes.
I'm getting goosebumps, man, because it changes everything once you buy that property.
Everything.
You're now a homeowner. You now have a mortgage.
Yes.
You now are paying and getting tax write-offs. You now have an opportunity to gain equity and appreciation. And I'm not talking about just go buy any property.
Right.
I'm talking about take the time, make calculated decisions that make sense for you and your family, the market and where we are right now.
Yep.
Those are the things you need to take your time and find somebody who's going to walk you through those steps. Yeah. That's what I love.
Yeah.
Because I just have a passion for it.
I know. Yeah. That's I know you do. So one thing I did want to talk about, we were talking earlier. Mm-hmm. There's a deal that we were talking about, and I wanted you to share that with our audience.
The property in Antioch.
Yeah. Kind of just go over some of the details and talk about, because I felt that it's very useful for the audience and for everyone to understand what's going on in the market.
Yeah.
That despite what you hear, there's some things that are really happening.
Yeah. If you listen to the news, it's all gloom and doom.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's all bad. I'm like, all bad.
Right?
Yeah. Everyone.
The fact is there's buyers and sellers out there who are transacting in real estate because they understand what their why is, what their need is, right? What is their growing need? So in respect to the property in Antioch, I think it was such a fantastic situation. First of all, the seller came to us. They didn't want to put a lot of money into the property, and So we put together a game plan that, I listened to what their needs were. I put to a game plan based on what those needs were. I gave them, whenever I do estimates I have a crew that comes in, they'll paint, they'll do the yard, they'll do everything to prep that property for the market. And I listen to how much they want to spend.
Of course.
I always go ahead and put together several estimates for the work that needs to be done. We get the crew in there and we prep this home for the market. The key is...
Listen up, listen.
Sellers' expectations can ruin a transaction.
Say it again. One more time.
Sellers' expectations can ruin a transaction. That you have to be able to talk to the seller about what the market is doing and how to strategize to get the most for that property in a market where people say home prices are coming down.
Yes.
And so the key in this particular situation was just to do enough so they felt comfortable with how much money they were spending, and then pricing is everything.
That's what I want you to really, because sellers, they're concerned, number one, because every seller wants the most.
Of course.
Bottom line.
And I understand the most for their asset.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I think it's that expectation of what it should be. The other thing too, because we're going to get into the specifics of this one, because sellers there's a lot on the market, and I know it depends on the property and everything.
Yeah.
But home prices, a lot of sellers in this market are coming in with seller credits. They're actually giving out some.
Yeah.
And so a lot of them, I know they have to be concerned about that aspect. I'm going to lose money, shell out.
Yeah.
So how do you go about pricing it for the advantage? To make sure they get what they should.
It's a really good question. And first and foremost, I just want to say every market is different.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Every city has its own micro markets, right?
Yeah.
Every county has a different city, which has a different market, which is a neighborhood.
Yeah.
They're all different. The beauty of being a real estate agent is that if you're open to doing the analysis and really understanding what's happening in those neighborhoods, you're going to find yourself in the best situation for your client, right? So there's a process. You understand what's going on in the market. Number one, pricing is everything, man. Sellers are having to give away their homes with credits and reducing price reductions and all those things. But I truly believe that depending on the situation, it's because the home's not priced accordingly in the first place. So with our particular property in Antioch, we looked at what the comps were.
Right.
We came in at a price much lower and had a lot of activity in 6 days and set an offer date and got 9 offers on the property.
And we're talking right now, in this market.
Right now.
You sold a home and got 9 offers within...
We're going to go pending.
Yeah.
So we got 9 offers.
Within
7 days.
Right now.
Right now.
While the average home price, I believe last time I checked, was, I want to say 30 to 40 days. On the market.
Right.
On market.
Yeah.
9 days.
9 days.
Man, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, I feel really fortunate. I think that once again, it comes down to strategy. It comes down to communicating. It comes down to doing the research. What is the neighborhood doing? What's the activity there?
Right.
And pricing is everything. You price your property accordingly, you most likely will get what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but most likely. And that's what you need to do.
Right.
The minute you start price reducing your property is the minute you're not going to get what you want. Yeah. Or you're going to have to do some rebranding, or you're going to have to do a lot of different steps in order to get. So if you price it appropriately in the first place, you're going to drive in the activity. You're going to have great conversations with groups of people. You're going to have an opportunity to meet a lot of really good real estate agents who are really interested in your property, and you really want to lay this property out for folks.